What is up, guys? So, coming back, got to preview the fights for tomorrow. This is going to be a really good weekend for boxing, guys. First off, I'm very happy about Canelo Danny Jacobs being signed. I think that's a very good fight for both guys, and we're going to see what each guy's made of. All right, let's get into the fights that are happening Friday night. Saturday night, of course, we got Pacquiao versus Broner, which is going to be big, of course. San Jose, coming back, baby. I'll be there. I'll see you guys on Saturday night. But prior to that, on Friday night, we got two good ass cards going on. A lot of guys staying busy, good fighters in action. First on ESPN, I'll break down that card. Uh, you got Brian Jennings, heavyweights, Brian Jennings, Oscar Rivas. That's the main event. Let's talk about the guys on the undercard first, though. Former world champion Jason Sosa. He's a top 10 guy for me. I got him number 9 at 130 pounds. He's staying busy against some nobody named Moises Delgadillo. He should knock him out, get another win, and keep himself in line for hopefully a title shot somewhere down the road. Also on that card is Shakur Stevenson. If you guys haven't seen this guy, you need to watch him. He's managed by Andre Ward. This kid's talented as shit, very good fighter, and he's just a prospect on the rise right now. He's rising up, but they've shown every one of his fights since day one. And just like they did Andre Ward, and Andre Ward's a Hall of Famer. So check this kid out. He's fighting. He's starting to fight veterans now and moving his way up the ladder to where probably by the end of the year he's going to be a top 10 featherweight. He fights at 126 pounds. Very talented. Check him out, Shakur Stevenson. You don't want to miss this kid. This kid's talented as shit. And then the co-feature is going to see Carlos Adames, whatever. He's a 154-pound contender. He's taking on a veteran named Juan Ruiz. Should get a win here for Adames or whatever. And, we'll see how he does. See if he can, at some point this year, break into the top 10 because he's floating right around that area. But a main event's going to be a really good heavyweight battle, guys. You got Brian Jennings, former world title challenger. This guy went 12 rounds with Vladimir Klitschko back in, I believe it was 2014 or 2015 right there. I think it was actually 15 earlier in the year. And then he came back and took on Luis Ortiz later that year, and that was a toe-to-toe, back-and-forth battle where he got knocked out in the 7th round, but he fought his ass off. This guy's got the passion. He's a rugged, tough veteran, 34 years old. He's trying to get back in line for another world title shot, and he's taking on Rivas, who's 25-0, 17 knockouts, a former Olympian. This is going to be a good fight right here between these two guys. Can Jennings prove that he still belongs in the game? He's my number 8, or he's my number 9 heavyweight right now in the world. Or can Rivas prove that he's a top 10 guy on the rise and ready to replace guys like Jennings and knock him out of there? Good heavyweight battle. If you missed Jennings' last fight, go check it out against Dimitrenko back in August. He got knocked down early in the fight, came back and knocked Dimitrenko out impressively. Check out his fights from 2015 with Klitschko. He was very awkward. He made it hard for Klitschko to win that fight. And then the fight with Luis Ortiz was not a cakewalk for Ortiz. That's actually what made Ortiz a top contender for the last couple of years. So check him out. Check that fight out. ESPN. And now the undercard start, ESPN Plus, I'm sorry. And the undercard start at 3:30 with the main event card, which is probably going to be just those two fights, Adames and Jennings and Rivas. That will start at 6:30. Now the DAZN card, going to be good as well. The main event, of course, is the middleweight title fight between Demetrius Andrade and Arthur Akakov. I'll get to that. The undercard, everything starts at 4 o'clock on DAZN tomorrow. Remember, DAZN, you get the first month for free. So if you haven't signed up yet, if you sign up today or tomorrow, you'll get the fight tomorrow for free. The first month is free, and they won't start charging you until the second month. Remember, Canelo, this is his home now. You guys need to sign up for DAZN. All right, so the undercard, you're going to see former world champion Chris Algieri return to action. This guy, if you forget, I think it was 2014 in that area, he upset Ruslan Provodnikov, captured the world title, and then he got his ass whipped against Manny Pacquiao, where he got knocked down 6 times. But the guy showed a lot of heart. He kept getting up, and he ended up losing a decision. This kid's got some talent. He can box. He's fighting with Matchroom and Eddie Hearn now, and And they're talking about him already being pushed into a title shot just because of his name against Maurice Hooker later in the year. I don't think he stands a chance, but he's coming back trying to stay busy and come back and shake off some ring rust. He's been out of action for 2 or 3 years now, and I'm interested in seeing him. He's always was talented, and he's a former world champ. He's fighting on the undercard. Also on the undercard is I'm drawing a blank now, guys, but I'll go straight to the co-feature and try to remember the other guys that are on it. Oh no, TJ Doheny. I'm sorry, 122-pound champion. He's Australian, undefeated. He went to Japan last year and got an upset 12-round decision over Ryosuke Iwasa, a tough Japanese fighter, and became world champion. He signed on with Eddie Hearn and DAZN just last week. He's staying active against some nobody Japanese contender. He should dominate the fight and win. But this is the first fight of a 3-fight contract with Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, and he's this fight might be a prelude to a unification bout with Danny Roman, who's #1 at 122. So this is a big deal. Doheny fighting tomorrow, and just to see him active, get a win, and make the first defense of his title is kind of a big deal. And we're going to see if he can, do that and set up a big unification with Danny Roman later in the year. That's going to be good. The co-feature is going to be really good, in my opinion. You got former 3-division world champion Jorge Linares. He's my #1 fighter at 140 right now. He's taken on veteran Pablo Cesar Cano, who's fought for world titles twice in his career. Cano hasn't been the same from when he was younger. He almost became world champ when he was younger, but couldn't win the title. He lost both times he attempted it, but that was years ago. He's still a tough contender going in, but the WBC hooked up Linares and made this a final eliminator. So Linares wins this fight. He gets a shot at Jose Ramirez, the undefeated champion from Fresno, which would be a badass fight. Linares is a great, solid veteran, and he showed that he can fight on a pound-for-pound level when he went toe-to-toe with Lomachenko last year. So he's got an opportunity here to punch his ticket towards a world title. I cannot wait to see this fight tomorrow night. It's going to be a good one. Linares versus Cano. I got Linares winning the fight by TKO, maybe late in the fight, middle to later rounds, and staying and putting himself in line for a world title. Also on the undercard, I got Doheny defeating the Japanese contender by a knockout to keep his title. And then Algieri should get a knockout win or at least a decision in his return. Now, the main event on DAZN, Demetrius Andrade defending the world middleweight title, WBO middleweight belt, against Arthur Akakov. Now, this fight on paper doesn't look like a big deal fight, and maybe Andrade's going to dominate Akakov, but he shouldn't overlook him for a couple reasons. One, Andrade is trying to get in line for Canelo and the big fights. A lot of guys don't want to fight him because he's tall, he's lengthy, and he's a southpaw, and he's a pure boxer. So he's hard to hit. And so guys are staying away from him. He doesn't have a big name, doesn't bring in a lot of money, so he's kind of high risk, low reward. But he needs to look good. He needs to start looking really good. He won the title back in October. Billy Joe Saunders failed a drug test, so the fight didn't happen. So he fought for the vacant title against the next highest rated contender, dominated that guy, some guy from Africa, by a knockout win, and became world champion in a second weight class. Now we know Canelo's fighting Danny Jacobs to unify belts. That's going to be 3 belts, and Canelo keeps talking undisputed title. That means he's got his eyes on Andrade, and this fight might happen later in the year. So you might see Andrade, the champ, fighting Canelo later in the year. So you need to check this guy out then. If you want to see what he's about, check him out. Also, the guy he's fighting, the Russian contender Akakov, not a guy to look over. A couple years ago, he challenged Billy Joe Saunders for the WBO title, and a lot of people thought Akakov won that fight. I didn't see it personally because it happened over in Europe. They didn't show it in the U.S. And from what I read, though, that Saunders looked really sluggish. He hadn't fought for a year either, though, but he looked really sluggish in the fight. And Akakov, and some people thought Akakov won. So it's going to be a good one, guys. I'm really looking forward to that tomorrow night. I think Andrade's going to win a unanimous decision, though, and keep himself in line for what possibly could be a September showdown with Canelo for the undisputed middleweight title, which would be big. But we're going to see. We're going to see, what happens there. But the only way to keep himself in line is to win. So decision win for him, in my opinion. Also, the undercard of the ESPN, I don't think I gave any predictions on that. I got Sosa should win by knockout and stay busy in his fight. Adames should win by knockout in his fight. Shakur Stevenson should win by knockout. And then I think Jennings is going to take the youngster into the deep waters and get a hard-fought decision in this one. But I wouldn't be surprised if Rivas, the heavyweight former Olympian, pulls off the upset here and punches his ticket into the top 10, because that will get him a top 10 spot by beating a former world title challenger in Bryant Jennings. All right, guys, that's it. I'm gonna start trying to keep these videos shorter, so you know that they don't drag on so long. Top 10s do that though, but I'm gonna try to keep my videos a little shorter. I hope you enjoy it. I'm coming back tomorrow night and doing Pacquiao versus Broner, the whole card. We got a good undercard there, guys, so check it out tomorrow. I will be back. I'll post on Instagram and Facebook, let all you guys know that it's going to be up, and then it'll be up all the way through the fight tomorrow, or Saturday, which is going to be good. Again, San Jose, here I come, baby. Can't wait to see you guys.